What's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy, Jay Willie Silly, man, aka Mr. Take It Easy for you end up like BZ. But make sure I follow my Twitch, man. Subscribe to my second channel. Everything you know about your boy Jay is in the description down below. But we got 3 disturbing, true, abandoned horror, house horror stories. For all my new subscribers and new viewers, if you want to go check out all my scare reactions, it is in a playlist section. Like I said, y'all, my most highest viewed playlist section, bro. True crime, NFL, NBA, and you got scare reactions, which is the #1 right there, you know what I'm saying? But abandoned houses, man, you know what I'm saying? I never, I guess it's urban exploring. I've never been the type to urban explore anything, I'm the type to just leave things alone, you know what I'm saying? So abandoned houses, I'm not a really a big fan, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, y'all, like I told y'all before, is I'm hopping back into my scary ways. For all my old subscribers, y'all already know, man, your boy Jay was, your boy Jay was action-packed with the scary reactions, man. So I never want to forget my roots. You know what I'm saying? I never want to forget where I come from. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, and I pride myself on that. Sometimes change is good sometimes. You know what I mean? But sometimes staying the same is good. How many YouTubers we know fell off because they wanted to be different so bad? You know what I mean? Don't have as much success as they, Pretty Boy Fredo. You know what I mean? D&B Nation. You know what I mean? CJ So Cool. All the YouTubers that we were watching back then, where the freak they at? You know what I mean? The only YouTuber that I know that is still busting today is Flight Reacts. And you know why Flight is still busting? Because Flight never forgot where he came from. Flight never changed. He never went. You don't see Flight doing all type of different stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't watch Flight for real. But I tune in sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like back then, I used to tune into him. So he doing the same thing, bro. Reactions, gaming. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes change ain't always better. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it ain't. You know what I mean? So I understand that, I'm not finna, oh yeah, I'm getting bigger now, so I'm finna become a vlogger. I've never been a vlogger. Yeah, I can vlog sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not finna just let that be my platform. Because, like I said, people still know me from the NFL, NBA, scary. You know what I'm saying? You got to go back to your roots. But when people get a lot of money, a lot of fame, they start changing up. And they wonder why they fall off. You fall off because you changed, my brother. People don't want to see no vloggers. Excuse me, thumbnail time. Evil old little dog. Yeah, nobody want to see no vlogs and nobody want to see all that. It's cool to be different sometimes, but dang, all the time?
Sitting on the
switch up your content forever?
For a while now. It happened back when I was in high school. I'm in my 30s now for context. Also, I'm going to refrain from using my real name and all my friends' real names in the story.
Well, show
you can look up the place I'm about to describe online, and I don't know if we'd still get in trouble. So
look it
it's
up.
best to avoid real names just in case.
I'm look it up.
In my hometown, there used to be an abandoned military base. From what I saw online, it was used primarily during the Cold War and World War II. At one point, over 200 military families were housed there. It looked like a small community. I'm sure military bases all across the country have these small communities, but it still seemed weird to me. The village was abandoned in 1984, and it was just left that way until 2014, when it was finally torn down. I remember growing up as a kid, we would always hear ghost stories about the abandoned village. I had heard every type of story you can imagine. Everything from demonic cults gathering there, to top secret military experiments being performed deep underground. Anybody who lives in this area knows all about the abandoned village. It was almost like a lost piece of local lore. When I was in middle school, I remember
one thing that pisses me off more than anything when I be reacting to these be the stank and funky room. You know what I'm saying? It's a stank and a funkiness. Got the pretzels all on the bed. You know what I'm saying? All the look, just shoot. I know it smells straight like booty cheeks up in there. Straight booty cheeks. Straight Duke. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, clean up your dang room, man. You know what I mean? And I know if I probably got some funky people watching this video right now. You know what I mean? Look around in your room. You know what I mean? I'm watching Jay Willie Silly. Turn me off. I don't want to be playing in that funky room of yours. You know what I'm saying? Turn me off, gang. You know what I mean? I smell the funk right now. Turn me off. I don't want to be playing in your funky room. Man, move me to the living room. You know what I'm saying? got me playing in that filth.
Older brother coming into my room one night when I had my friends over, and he told me that they had been to the village.
Good God Almighty, dog!
He described in detail what he saw. He looked genuinely scared, but I'm sure that was just part of him messing with us. He started telling us about the church and how the church had a secret door on the floor next to the altar. He told us that he could hear moans and screams coming from the church basement.
I'm trying to see through that TV, man. I thought I seen a face through that TV. I was trying to see that face. I'm trying to see. Do I see a face in the TV? See a hand? Am I tweaking? I see a hand. I mean, I thought I seen a face.
After laying it on thick for a while, he finally had all of us believing him. His irrational story just added to the already mysterious lore of the abandoned village. For years, my friends and I would share stories about this place. We always said that once we were old enough to drive, we would investigate it ourselves.
Caucasian, right?
All through high school, we talked about exploring the village, but never went through with it. That was for two main reasons. One, we didn't really know the exact location of the village. We knew the area, but that wasn't enough to go on. We knew it was near the airport, but there's a lot of area around the airport that has no trespassing signs. And two, even though it was abandoned, it was still technically a military base. We had no idea what kind of trouble we'd be in if we got caught. On one cool spring night in our senior year of high school, one of my friends, Alex, came to us and told us that he knew where the entrance to the village was. We didn't believe him. He told us that someone he knew had been there and shared the location with him. I was so confident that he was making it up that I told him we should go and investigate. I assumed that we would never find the entrance. So that night, around 11 p.m., we made the 15-minute drive to the approximate area. Alex didn't seem confident of the location. He kept telling me to pull over. Every 2 feet, he'd say, "I think this is it," but it would just turn out to be nothing. Finally, we found an overgrown road.
Stop playing games, Alex!
This must be the path. There was a beat-up, old no trespassing sign covered by a bunch of trees. Since we had my car, I started to get nervous about going any further. Alex and my friend Nick were 100% down to keep driving forward. Getting in trouble wasn't even on their minds. They kept going back to the same argument. We'd been talking about it basically our whole lives, so let's finally do it. They eventually talked me into it. I started to slowly drive down the dirt road. I turned the lights off on my car and basically just let the car roll down the dirt path. We eventually came to one of those roadblock gates that go up and down. Obviously, there was nobody at the security checkpoint, so I had to get out of the car and manually lift the gate. This is where it started to get weird. The next minute or so.
What the freak is like? What the freak going on, man? You know what I mean? We're still driving down this road, and we see couches on our right side. We see chairs on our left side. You think I'm gonna still drive past them? That was that called Alex, Nick. You know what I'm saying? Right when he said them names, I knew you were Caucasian before. God, there we go, man. Okay, I told you last time, man. I told you last time. You know, if you speak on us again, I'm unsubscribing. Just hit the, I'm done. You know what I mean? Do as you please. You know what I mean? But I'm just Alex and Nick. Does that sound like a brother name? Come on now. Come on, my Caucasian audience. Does that sound like a brother name? Y'all know y'all do stupid-ish. You know what I'm saying? Don't act stupid. And you do stupid-ish too. Look at him. You probably was the same mother ever. You probably watching this story. Alex probably watching this story right now. You know what I mean? But come on now. How much dumb stuff you did in your life? Come on now. How much urban exploring and how much exploring abandoned buildings have you? Come on now. You know you stupid. Come on now. You know your folks stupid. You know what I'm saying? Caucasians, man. You know what I'm saying? I told you. I don't know what it is about y'all. Y'all just don't like leaving stuff alone. You know what I mean? Look at this. Look at the road right here. Stop looking at me and look at the road, man. Look at this, man. Think a brother finna walk down there? Think a brother gonna try to drive down? You think a military base is that important to me? You know what I mean? I've been talking about it our whole lives, man. We don't talk about stuff like that. I know our conversations, man. We ain't talking about exploring no dang abandoned military base. Think that's in our conversations? Caucasians to the fullest.
We could see a bunch of furniture littered on the side.
Look at this.
Beds, dressers, tables.
Built like a sack of lawn.
Basically anything you could think of. Then we got to another roadblock gate. This time I had Alex get out and lift the gate. After that final checkpoint, we were in the village. It was a surreal feeling. After all the years of hearing about this place, we were finally there.
What no?
It looks like being in the Upside Down from Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. I'm being upside down from Stranger Things, but what?
Finally there. It looks like being in the Upside Down from Stranger Things. It was like a small neighborhood, but it just looked wrong. You could see that it was decaying. I pulled the car in front of the church. We all got out and quietly started to explore the area.
I ain't gonna lie, Stranger Things, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. Stranger Things, bro, that ending right there, bro. You know what I'm saying? I never meant to cause you any sorrow. All right, knew when they started playing that, I knew it was, I never meant to cause you any pain. When they turned purple rain, purple rain. You know what I'm saying? I knew when they started playing that, I started feeling some type of way. I'm like, oh, shoot, they just turned on the Prince. Oh, shoot. Right when 11 died, I was like, oh, my God, don't do this to me. I never meant to cause you any sorrow. Y'all know about Prince. I never meant to cause you any pain. You know what I mean? Hey, man, when they start playing that, man, I start, man, hey, man, look, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but I mean, y'all, a brother almost cried right there, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I watch Stranger Things from, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a real Stranger Things dude for real. So I mean, when Lucas and all them boys was like 11, they was little. You know what I mean? To see that happen, I was like, you know, Mike and them, I was like, dang. But I ain't gonna lie, how the ending, y'all think we're gonna get another Stranger Things, man? You know what I'm saying? I think we, you know, I think we should, because y'all remember when they went upstairs and then that other group, you know what I'm saying, formed around the table. I think we're finna get another Stranger Things, bro. No, I think it's gonna be a spinoff. You know how that other group formed around the table? What if that's the next group of Stranger Things? Y'all ain't see it like that? You know what I mean? I had to think about it. I'm like, okay, Mike and Lucas and all them, they're going upstairs, and then this next group coming in, forming, you know what I'm saying? They need to come out with another Stranger Things, man. They need to. They got to. Got to be another one.
The first thing I noticed was that there were no cameras anywhere that I could see. That made me feel a little better that maybe we wouldn't get caught. We went to the church first, and it was creepy. There was graffiti everywhere.
Oh, heck no.
I looked for the door my brother mentioned when I was a kid, and it was no surprise that there was no trapdoor. After exploring the church, we went and looked at some of the houses. It was so creepy. It was legitimate housing, and it just looked completely abandoned.
Outlast was scary.
Some of the housing units looked like they'd been hit by a hurricane, while others were still intact.
I couldn't even finish
The
Outlast.
housing that was intact was more creepy than the messed up units. Our friend Scott was with us, and the entire time he was freaking out. He kept claiming that someone was there. Scott was always afraid of something. We kept telling him that it was just because of the nature of what we were doing, that his imagination was probably playing tricks on him. While in one of the houses, we all stopped abruptly because there was an unnatural sound. What I mean is that it didn't sound like a typical noise a house makes. I asked my friends if they had heard it, and they all had. It sounded like wood creaking, like the sound it would make if someone were walking on the wood. Instead of continuing to listen, Alex shouted, asking if anyone was there.
What the freak, Alex, bro? Man, bro, Alex, you dumb? Would have slapped the taste out your mouth, Alex, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, Alex, bro. Would have left you right there where you stand. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing, bro? Why are you screaming for? Is anybody there? What the freak is wrong with this mother? You see why you cannot be with Caucasians? You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, like I said, man, when we got a group, man, I needed brothers. You know what I'm saying? If I see a Caucasian in the group, I'm dipping. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it. You know what I mean? Okay, we got, you know, what's the name right there? All right. We got what's the name right there? All right. Now we got Nick. I'm gonna just go over there where the brothers at. You know what I'm saying? Because this motherfucker gonna get us killed. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with the other two, right? When I see Nick. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of get nervous when I see Nick. I don't know, man. What other groups at?
The noise stopped. We all stood in that house for a minute trying to talk about what we had just heard. I truly didn't know. Alex and Nick were sure that it was just an old abandoned house making noises, not Scott. He was sure that we weren't alone. Either way, I told the group I wanted to leave. I had such an uneasy feeling being there, and I just wanted to go home. I could tell Alex and Nick wanted to stay. Since I drove, I told them that we were leaving. While we were heading to the front door, Scott jumps back suddenly. He quietly pointed to one of the windows on the side of the house.
Oh, shit.
3 shadows can be seen moving on the outside of the house that was next door. We all became dead silent. Those were clearly the shadows of heads that were moving just outside the window. As quietly as I could, I stepped over to the window and looked outside. I could see the shadows move just out of sight into the backyard of the house we were inside. I whispered as quietly as I could that we needed to make a run for the car. Everyone nodded. Without thinking, we all just sprinted right out the door and in the direction of my car. Once the car was in sight, Scott, who was in front of us, screamed at the top of his lungs. We all looked, and standing next to the back seat of my car was a tall woman with a disgusting old black dress on. She had the back door open.
What?
It looked like she was about to get into the vehicle because one leg was already halfway into the back seat. When she heard Scott scream, she let go of the door and ran inside the church. We continued running towards the car.
Say you
When we
swear.
got there, I looked in the back seat, and thankfully, nobody was back there. We got into the car and drove off as fast as we could.
Yo, what would y'all do if y'all seen this mother effer right here? You know what I'm saying? You seen this? Look at the tall mother effer. You know what I mean? God, Lee. Kind of look a little sexy demon, a little tall, little sexy demon. Jay, you got a problem. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, look a little sexy, little tall demon. Why you gotta be a demon? You know what I mean? The demon kind of look a little sexy a little bit. You know? She got potential. Why does the demons all have to be so fine? You know what I mean? Y'all tell me why the demons gotta be so fine all the time. Why you gotta be so fine? You know what I mean? Even when it comes to humans, man. You know what I mean? The craziest and the most demonic women be the most beautiful women you ever seen in your life.
We continued running.
The angels be ugly than the mother. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dang, man, the angels, you know, the girls that, you know, that's actually nice in the heart, pure in the heart. Why they always gotta be so ugly, man? You know what I'm saying? Be the fine demons, man. Demonic on the inside, but look like an angel on the outside. You know what I mean? Whole time the other sister, she demonic on the outside, but an angel on the inside. You know what I mean?
Towards the car.
God.
When we got there, I looked in the back seat, and thankfully, nobody was back there. We got into the car and drove off as fast as we could. I remember going so fast that I lost control on the dirt and almost crashed the car. That night, we shared stories about who we think we encountered. The most obvious answer is that those people were likely homeless in some capacity and using this abandoned facility as a shelter. All of that makes sense, except for why that woman would be trying to get inside my vehicle. It's also terrifying when I think about that night because we walked around for quite a while and never saw anybody, or even a clue that somebody had been there. Not until right before we left. Even though Scott claimed that he heard something weird, I still think that was just his imagination at that time. Years later, I started telling my girlfriend this story. She said we should look it up and see if it's still there. That's when I realized that it had been torn down in 2014. It's wild that there's so much more information on it now. Growing up, we constantly tried looking stuff up about that place, and there was nothing. Because of that, it added more to the mysterious lore of the abandoned village. I'm just happy we left when we did, and that Scott screamed when he saw the tall woman. If we had been 10 seconds later running to the car, who knows how this night could have ended.
Say paranormal, bro. Don't deal with that paranormal junk.
When my wife and I first started dating, we were reckless. Not in a way that harmed anyone directly, but we did some things that I would never do now. Things of questionable legality, in other words. For example, we would explore abandoned buildings and houses trying to find proof of ghosts. I never bought into any of that stuff. That was more of her deal, and I just went along with it because I liked the girl. Out of all the houses and buildings we explored, only one time was I left at a loss for words. I couldn't explain then what I saw, and I don't think I can explain now what I saw either. It was an extremely dark night outside, one of those cloudy nights that just makes everything feel so much darker. She had found this house that was not near anything. It was an old house that barely looked like it was—
Look just like Mr. Nevercracker house. You know what I'm saying? Get off my lawn! Man, that looked just like Monster House. Looked just like Mr. Nevercracker. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that old man ain't played by this lawn, but I ain't gonna lie. Hey, that's one. Hey, look, like I said, when my kids grow up, bro, they finna watch all our movies. I'm gonna keep it real with you. You know what I mean? Only the real ones know about Monster House. You know what I mean? Only the real ones know about Monster House. Only the real ones know about Mr. Nevercracker. You know what I'm saying? Chowder. You know, y'all don't be knowing nothing about that, bro. That's what I be trying to tell you, bro. Man, I miss our dang childhood, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Monster House was the ish. I mean, I ain't watched Monster House in a minute. You know what I'm saying? I gotta watch Monster House, bro. Freaking God, bro. We had the movies back then, but I swear. It's crazy how everything older is so much better. Like you would think, because everything, okay, we're getting newer technology and, everything is just, elevating, that everything will be so much better. But in reality, everything that's older is 10 times better than everything that's newer, even when it comes to the video games. I don't want to peep that. You know what I mean? It's like, why everything older is so much better than everything newer? Like, it just don't make sense. You would think everything new would be better, bro.
Standing. I was always sketched out to go inside these houses.
But the older movies, 10 times better than new movies, bro.
Not because I was scared of ghosts. I was sketched out to go inside because I never knew if these houses were going to collapse when I was inside. This house was in particularly rough shape. I had to kick down the front door, which was boarded up. Inside the door was what I assumed used to be a living room, except it was missing half the floor.
It's just like on some Monster House type stuff. Like, y'all, am I tripping? Y'all remember when he went inside the door, you know what I'm saying? And then they had what the freak? My twicking, they had the little hole in the middle of the floor. Y'all remember that joke? Like, what the freak? Like, this on some real life Monster House stuff right now, bro.
In the middle of this room was a giant hole where the floor used to be.
Like, they swallowed, you know what I'm saying? Swallowed them up.
Down the hole, and you could see what was left of a basement. I kept telling her that we should probably leave because this place clearly isn't safe. She didn't care. She kept telling me just to wait a minute. That was always her go-to line whenever I wanted to leave. She was sneaking around the house watching for holes, and I just stayed by the front door. I told her I was staying there because I didn't trust the floor.
Girl, you got
what? She called me a coward. A few minutes went by, and my curiosity got the better of me. I made my way into the other room where she was.
Boy, got a savage girl. That's this girl. Yo, your girl a savage, boy.
The room was a mess.
Usually be the dudes that be... She the one leading the pack now.
Junk stacked to the ceiling.
Freak.
She was going through all the stuff, trying to find remnants of the people who lived there. That was part of her routine. I wanted no part of that. She told me to check the upstairs. She must have known I didn't really want to do that because before I could even respond, she said that the sooner we search the entire house, the sooner we can leave. Reluctantly, I made my way upstairs. At any moment, I was sure I was going to fall through the floor. There was a room directly to the right at the top of the stairs. I went in there first. It was an old bedroom with a bed still in there. It was kind of depressing. The bed was still made, and on the bottom of the bed was a folded up bathrobe. It was like somebody just disappeared and left their home as is. I continued looking around the room, and it was just more junk everywhere. A lot of clothes, some old knickknacks that were falling apart, and furniture that looked like it might break if you touch it. There was this weird crawl space in the corner of the room. Sometimes we'd find treasure in these crawl spaces. I went inside, and it was weird. It was filled with a bunch of baby stuff, like unopened boxes of diapers and baby food. But the stuff was old, like really old, and covered in dust and cobwebs. Some of the baby food had clearly been gone through by rodents, not to mention it smelled horrible. Just as I was about to leave, I thought I could hear the sound of creaking.
I think it's your
girl. I used my
girl.
flashlight to look around the entire crawl space. In the corner of the crawl space was another little opening. I couldn't believe I missed it a second ago. I crawled over and looked down the opening. It was a narrow path that looked like it went directly across the length of the house to the other bedroom. The creaking sound was clearly coming from down that way.
F it.
I was a little too big to crawl down the narrow path.
Dick.
So I left the crawl space and started heading toward the other bedroom from the top of the stairs. The other bedroom was down the hall and to the left.
Your swings?
As I got closer, I could still hear the creaking sound. It was getting louder the closer I got to the bedroom. My heart was racing, but not because I was scared. I was completely ready to be jumped by a horde of raccoons. When I was just a couple of feet away from the doorway, the sound was clear. I quietly walked through the doorway, and I almost fell over. A woman was sitting in a rocking chair, staring out the window. I didn't say anything at first. The back of the chair was facing me, so I could only see the top of her head and what looked like a long skirt on her legs. Slowly, she just rocked back and forth. I was trying to see the reflection of her face in the window, but it was just too dark to make out any details. I took one step toward the woman, and the floor creaked. Once she heard that noise, she instantly stopped rocking. I started to apologize and told this woman that we didn't know someone lived there. Before I could say anything else, she started to rock again, almost like she was completely unfazed that I was standing there. For some reason, instead of running, I took another step forward.
Bro, what do you keep taking steps forward for, my brother? Surely this woman is not in her right mental capacity right now. You know what I mean? Dang, man, why you keep stepping forward, though, bro? You good, bro? Like, bro, you pissing me off. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? Pissing me real off. She's not in her right mental headspace right now. This is an abandoned building. Look how, look at this, bro. Look how funky this room is. Look how funky this house is. Look how abandoned this house is, and she just standing there rocking in a chair like there's nothing wrong. She is not in the right headspace right now, and something right now is telling me that she was spawned here. Something right now is telling me that is a demon. I told y'all I believe that demons are in human form. You know what I mean? So something is telling me that she spawned here because you ain't hear that rocking before. But right when you come upstairs, you hear that rocking. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's a demon for sure. She was spawned there. She spawned there. And right when you step up, you introduce yourself. She don't even turn around and say hi. You don't even acknowledge that I'm here. She keep on rocking back and forth. Oh, yeah, I'm out. I mean, probably would have slapped the taste out of her head or something. I mean, see if she was real. I had to slap the taste out of her head or something. See if she real or something. I know I know I can't be tripping. Hold on. I know I can't be tripping. Sometimes you just gotta make sure it's real. I'm tripping. Would have slapped the taste out of her head. Bet she would have turned around then. You know what I mean? She would have started running at me. A couple of buckshots would have rang out.
Instead of running, I took another step forward and asked if the woman was okay. As I took that step, she stopped rocking again.
Bro, Lee?
She stood up slowly. When she was standing...
Holy crap, man! Hey, Mr. Nightmare, I ain't used to that. You know, I'm like, okay. Mr. Nightmare is elevating. Thought she would have kept her little butt down. So when she stood up, I'm like, oh, Mr. Nightmare, you know, kind of elevating a little bit, boy. You know what I'm saying? She stood up kind of, you know, I felt my heart beat through the end of the drum. You know what I'm saying? Oh, now, Mr. Nightmare, you can't play with me like that, boy.
Stopped rocking again. Then she stood up slowly.
Holy crap.
When she was standing in front of the rocking chair, I heard her voice. She didn't say anything. Instead, she just made this noise. It was like a low hum. Then, out of nowhere, she quickly turned around to face me. It made me jump, and I turned around and ran. I wish I could describe what I saw, but it happened so fast that I didn't really see any details of her face. All I could tell was that she was old and her skin looked wrinkled. I ran downstairs screaming that we needed to leave. I tried telling my girlfriend that we weren't alone and that somebody still lived there.
What was that?
She just laughed. She was so confident that I was messing with her. I was pleading with her that we needed to leave, that someone was upstairs in the bedroom.
You leave right now!
Instead of listening to me, she wanted to see for herself.
Oh, heck no.
I begged her not to go upstairs, but she didn't listen.
Are you the man in a relationship? Girl, I said we leaving right now! You know what I'm saying? Like, like, are you the man or is she the man? It seems like she's the man. I'm gonna carry your butt out this dang house. I said, come on. You know what I'm saying? I said, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, what the freak, bro? This is, you know, like I said, bro, you know, I'm your man and you my woman. You can lead in certain situations, but I'm leading here. I said, let's go.
I was screaming at this point to please leave, and she just continued to ignore me.
Bro, what's wrong with your girl, boy?
I followed her upstairs and watched her make her way to the bedroom at the end of the hall. When she got to the doorway, I heard her say, "Oh my God." I ran to the end of the hallway just in case, and as I got to the doorway, she just started to laugh. Inside the room was the rocking chair, but no woman. She asked if I was scared of the rocking chair and continued to laugh at me.
Oh yeah, your girl crazy, bro. Your girl is crazy. I'm not gonna lie, your girl is crazy.
I told her that there was a woman there just a minute ago, but she just kept laughing at me. She went into the room and looked all around. There was no old woman. I swore to her that I saw an old lady, but she just continued to laugh at me. She walked by me and left the room. As she walked away, she said we could leave. We were both walking towards the stairs, and then we both heard it. The creaking sound again. The sound of the rocking chair going back and forth. She looked at me and froze. There was no doubt about it. It was clearly the sound of the chair. She mouthed the words to me, "What is that?" as we both stood at the top of the stairs. She took a few steps toward the bedroom and could hear the woman humming. It was like she was humming a melody. She got to the doorway and saw with her own eyes the rocking chair with someone sitting on the chair and humming to herself. She didn't engage with her. She just turned and ran, and we both ran out the door after that. She started screaming once we got to the car. She kept asking what the hell we just saw, and I didn't say anything. I wanted to look back at the house as we drove off and look at the window to see if I could see anyone standing there, but I was too terrified. I truly have no idea what we encountered that night. Maybe I really did have a brush with something paranormal. I know how unlikely that is, but who knows?
How's that
Maybe
unlikely?
that kind of thing really does exist.
Junk
I
exists.
suppose it could have easily just been a very old woman who still lived inside a filthy and decomposing house.
Okay, so why your woman ain't see her the first? But the paranormal junk exists. I don't know why you keep thinking that it doesn't. Junk does. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, it exists. You know what I mean? So let's just stop being blinded when it comes to, human nature. Stop being blinded.
But I don't fully buy that. I mean, the door was boarded up.
You know what you seen, boy. You know exactly what you
I had
seen.
a hole in the living room. Not exactly ideal living situations. Not long ago, I brought this story up to my wife and asked her if she remembered. She obviously did. We drove to the abandoned house, and it had been torn down. There was no house there. Not even any remnants of a house. I try to replay that night in my head all the time. I try to remember what I can about that woman's face. I tell myself that it was just an old woman, but something in my gut tells me that's not the case.
An old woman, bro. An old woman. Ain't no person. They right mind finna be in a place like that. I mean, just go and think about it, bro. Look like they in their monster house.
When I was in middle school, my family and I moved to a new house. It was an awesome house to be a teenager in. It was bigger than our last house, and the neighborhood was filled with a lot of kids my age. Just about everything was great about this new place, except for our one neighbor. It was the classic mean old man.
My good
He'd go
neighbor!
outside and play two-hand touch football, and if we even got within a couple of feet of his front yard, he would go crazy.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, somebody in my neighborhood do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? My freaking cousins and them came over to my crib. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, could have, like I said, I don't know, could have drove to, we walked to the, you know what I'm saying, little pool, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Freaking, got this little old man right here, man. This little old man don't play about his grass. You know what I mean? I think I was finna Dana whoop that old man. You know what I'm saying? I think I was finna whoop him. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, like, you know what I mean? Grass ain't never this serious, bro. You know what I'm saying? So bro was like OCD with it. I walked on his grass on purpose. That's when I was wild. Walked on his grass on purpose. Dana's finna whoop that old man, bro. The heck with your grass. You know what I'm saying? No, it ain't like I'm just You know what I mean? I ain't just doing that, bro, on some Nevercracker stuff, bro. Get off my lawn! You know what I mean? Some people don't play about their lawn, bro. I don't know what it is, bro. I realize if you're a gardener, I realize that. But, like, I wasn't messing over your lawn, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was just walking on the grass, bro. You know what I mean? Straight up.
He'd start banging on the window and screaming from inside the house that we need to get off his property, even though we never actually went onto his front yard. As an adult, I understand the feeling of unwanted kids on your property. The difference in this situation is that we were good kids and respected his wishes. That didn't matter. As we'd walk outside, he would instantly start banging on the window and yelling at us to get away from his house. It was like he was watching for us all the time. It was brutal. This went on for about 6 months after moving into the new house.
Bro said it was brutal.
One day, we noticed that he had stopped banging on the window. We didn't hear him or see him. I remember joking that he must have died. Why else would he finally leave us alone? Another month or so later, my friend Joel stayed overnight. We woke up in the morning when it was still dark out. I don't recall the exact time. We heard a bunch of commotion coming from next door, and we could see siren lights shining through the window.
Don't be dead.
We got up and looked out the window, and right at that moment, we saw 2 people bringing out a zipped up body bag. We knew right away what we were looking at. I remember feeling a little messed up by this. I'd seen this thing a million times in movies, but never in real life. I'll never forget that feeling of guilt. We were joking about this guy dying, and he really did pass away. I couldn't stop thinking to myself that he must have died over a month ago, and they just now found him. I didn't know that for sure, but something in my gut told me that was the case. After the old man's death, the house remained empty. Well, not completely empty. I guess the correct answer would be abandoned.
Imagine seeing that. That'd be some creepy-ish though, y'all. Like, imagine seeing that jump, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, man, I seen it. You know, I seen the man carried out, zipped up in a body bag. You know what I mean? Used to seeing this man every day. And, you know, next minute I know this motherfucker done died and I'm living right beside this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? That's some creepy-ish, boy.
The old man's stuff remained in the house, and the house just lay uninhabited for years. Apparently, the old man did have one son, but he lived in another state and didn't even bother to come back after his father passed away. It's actually sad when you think about it.
That's why it's important to be a good parent. You know, that's why it's important, because one thing that parents love try to say, and I know a lot of y'all can agree with this, I don't need you for nothing. It's one thing they love saying, but I don't need you for nothing. You better watch how you treat your kids, mother. You better watch how you treat your kids, father. Because, yeah, you don't need us now, but you going to need us later. You know what I mean? It's a very, very sad thing, you know, to grow up alone. You know what I'm saying? You know, kids having a good day outside, and then when they come home, they already know it's finna be hell. Kids grow up, but they going to want to stay as far away from you as possible. You know what I mean? So watch how you treat your kids. You don't want to be by yourself when you die, because you going to die. I'm speaking to the parents for this. You going to die? You want to be alone when you die? Or do you want to be comforted and loved when you die? See, he was alone when he died. Banging on windows and all that. Not even stepping on your land. I already could tell you was a mad father. Imagine what the son was experiencing. You know what I mean? He like that with us. Imagine what the son dealing with. That's what I'm saying. Me, be nice to your kids, and a lot of things that parents love doing too. Parents love being nice. And like I said, it's one thing that pissed me off when I was a child. You know what I mean? Particularly to my dad, most of all. Love being nice to other people's kids more than you're nice to me. You know what I'm saying? Pissed me off more than anything. So nice to other. I'm never going to be like that with my kids, bro. Why am I so nice to other people's kids? But when it comes to my kids, I treat them the worst way. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all parents do that. And you wonder why your kids don't call you when you move out, when they move out. Wonder why your kids, why is he not calling me? Was I not a good, did I not take care of him? Yeah, you took care of him, but you was mean as freak, bro. You know what I mean? That's just a title. Mom and dad, that's just a title. At the end of the day, you're a human and he a human. She a human. You know what I mean? Nobody don't want to keep hearing that junk every single day they come from home. They hearing a bickering parent in their ear. Junk get irritating, bro. Sometimes people want to have peace. They had a good day at school. Now when they come home, they finna have a bad day. Now you just ruin their day, bro. You know, they coming home vibing, bro, from school. Now they gotta come on. They already know it's gonna be something. That's how bad it is at the crib. You know what I mean? Had a good day at school. Right when they get on bus, they mad as shit. Oh, here I go. Finna hear my mama mouth. Finna hear my dad mouth. You know what I mean? How many kids these days be mad as freak going home?
I would sometimes stare out my bedroom window.
Sometimes you gotta leave your kids alone sometime, bro. Or they gonna grow up hating you, bro. Just saying.
Just look inside the abandoned house. His house was directly next door, and from my bedroom window, you could clearly see into the house. It was so creepy. Knowing that this guy died somewhere in there always gave me the chills.
Okay.
For the next few years, I would always joke around with my friends. I would tell them that the place was haunted. My friend Joel, the one who witnessed the body bag with me, was one of those guys who was always scared. Every time I had people over to the house, I would tell Joel that I'd seen the old man's ghost. He would cover his ears and tell me to shut up. Everyone would always laugh. I enjoyed being a troll in high school, especially when I had an audience. One night, Joel had enough of the trolling. He dared me.
Oh, no, funky room again. There we go, y'all. I don't know what's wrong, Mr. Nightmare, in these funky rooms. There we go, y'all. Another funky room. Funky. Just straight funk. I ain't gonna even say, hey, at least you got a little letter from Pitt. You know what I'm saying? Pitt know they getting a funky student.
To go inside the abandoned
Dorm gonna look just like that.
I didn't love the idea of breaking into the place, and that's what I told him. Joel started to troll me now, calling me a coward and a few other choice words. I thought about it for a second, and I honestly didn't think it would be that big of a deal if I took a quick stroll through the old guy's house.
See,
It
Joel?
had literally been empty for a few years at this point.
Joel got some heart now.
Nobody would even notice if I broke in. I made my way over to the house. I tried to walk inside, hoping that maybe the door was unlocked. Of course, it wasn't. I tried kicking the door down, but I weighed about 130 pounds at the time, so the door was not budging. Next to the front door was a small window. I tried to pry it open from the outside, but to my surprise, it wasn't locked. It slid open easily. I looked back one time just to make sure nobody was watching me enter the house through the window, and then I entered. The first thing I noticed when I entered the house was the smell. It literally smelled like death. I started to gag. I had to put the collar of my shirt over my
smelled
nose.
like death.
In addition to the smell, it was creepy in there. Everything was exactly how this old guy had left it. In the living room next to his recliner was a book with a bookmark still in the middle of the book. I made my way to the kitchen, and that's where the smell was the worst. If this guy had been dead for a while in the house, like I thought before, I was thinking that he probably died in the kitchen. He had a small table in there, with a sweater on one of the back of the kitchen chairs. In front of that chair was a coffee mug. The stove had dusty pots and pans on the burners. I checked to see if something was in them, but they were empty, except for a lot of dust. I left the kitchen and entered a narrow hallway. The first room to the left was the room I was able to see from my bedroom. I entered the room and looked out the window. All my friends were in the window waving at me. Joel looked shocked that I was still inside. While I was waving back at them, I heard a loud bang come from the other side of the house. It wasn't subtle either. It literally sounded like a person banging into the wall. I stood completely still. I was trying my best to focus my hearing, but there was no follow-up noise. I looked back at my friends, and they looked confused, almost like they didn't know why I was just standing there. I was creeped out now. Just the weirdness of this entire situation had me feeling off. Even though there was still more of the house to explore, I was all done. I quickly made my way to the door, unlocked it, and let myself out. When I got back inside my house, I told my friends about what I saw and how terrible the smell was. We talked about it for a little while, but ultimately, we moved on quickly after that. That night, after we all fell asleep, Joel woke me up. I asked what he wanted, and he told me he couldn't sleep because he kept hearing weird noises from next door. I dismissed him right away and told him to go back to bed. I tried telling him that his mind was playing tricks on him because of what I told him about the noise. He didn't say anything. In that quiet moment, I heard a weird noise. Joel perked up and told me that's the noise he kept hearing every few minutes.
It's the noise you heard in the
admit
crib.
It was weird. It was like two loud knocks. I sprang up and looked out the window toward the old man's house. It was dark and I could barely see anything. Joel looked terrified and asked what was standing in the doorway of the old man's room, the room I had been in earlier. It looked like a silhouette of a person. I dismissed it at first, telling Joel it had to be a coat rack or something. Then Joel became erratic. He screamed no way. He swore that he had just seen the silhouette move. His erratic behavior woke up my other friends. They all looked out the window and agreed with Joel. I told them that there was no way a person could be standing there. Obviously, there was some type of shadow or something else that we just couldn't explain. While we were arguing among ourselves, Joel screamed again. This time he didn't say anything, he just pointed. I looked out the window, and now standing directly in front of the old man's window was a figure. Whatever it was, it had moved from the doorway to the window. It was still too dark to make out any details, but because of where he was standing, you could clearly see now that it was a silhouette of a person. We all started to freak out. We had no idea what we were looking at. While I was watching this figure, it started to move. I was able to see it walk back towards the doorway until it completely faded back into the darkness. I continued looking out the window for several more minutes, but nothing happened. I had no explanation for what happened. I remember telling my friends at the time that it must have been just the old guy's son finally coming back to the house.
In the
It
dark
was the only
time?
thing I could do to get my friends to somewhat calm down in that moment. We spent the rest of that night constantly looking out the window every few minutes, but we never saw anything again. It was about a year after that I finally met the old man's son. He showed up with a dumpster and gutted the entire house, then he sold it right after. My dad talked to the guy for a while, and he told my dad that he had a horrible relationship with his father. It took him years to finally get to the house and sell it. To this day, that is still the most terrifying thing that I've ever seen with my own eyes. I'm happy that I had several witnesses with me that night who all saw the same thing as me. I know sometimes our minds can play tricks on us, so it's validating to have other witnesses who saw the same exact thing.
Come on, don't play tricks on me.
My friends and I still try to get together once a year, even though we all live in different states now. Every time we're together, this story comes up again. I have no idea what I saw in that old man's abandoned house that night. I'm sure there's a rational explanation for what we saw, but I just have no idea what it is.
Come on, never play tricks on me, man. I mean, true story. You know what I mean? But that was a creepy video right there. I really loved it. You know what I mean? I actually kind of got a little bit of goosebumps. You know, a lot of y'all like, bro, Jay, you're crazy, man. Like, you're crazy. This is kind of, you know, it's cool. Kind of, you know, like I said, I like scary stuff, man. You know what I mean? So when I get goosebumps, you feel me? It's kind of, you know, exciting a little bit. You know what I'm saying, for the kid. But anyways, man, that is the end of the stream, man. I did 3 videos for y'all boys, man. 2 hours actually and 46 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So we actually almost at a 3-hour mark. But anyways, I appreciate everybody for joining the video. Y'all know I would not be live tomorrow. You know, I think that was kind of a pretty scary video right there. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate everybody for joining the stream. You know what I mean? Every video will be uploaded to YouTube. For all my YouTube audience, please come over to Twitch, man. Subscribe.